It's 6 p.m. here in Korea. Welcome to the newscast. I'm Daniel Chen. Let's start with the headliners. Korea's main opposition party leader Moon Jae-in urged the ruling party and the president to appoint special prosecutors to investigate the bribery scandal and do whatever it takes to uncover the truth. Russia's ambassador to South Korea confirms that Kim Jong-un will be visiting Moscow in May for Victory Day celebrations. This will be the North Korean leader's first international trip since coming into power in 2011. The Korean economy is on the rebound, expanding 2.4% in the first quarter, but there's still a lot of work to be done, as that's the slowest pace of growth since 2013. Highlighting the need to expedite the bribery scandal investigations, main opposition party leader Moon Jae-in called for the appointment of a special prosecution to help uncover the truth. Our Park Ji-won starts us off.
With the so-called Songwangjong bribery list still riffling through politics, the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy leader Moon Jae-in called for the appointment of special prosecutors to find out the truth behind the scandal, which involves several high-profile ruling Saenuri Party politicians.
Prosecutors should proceed with a prompt and tough investigation until the independent counsel team is appointed. The impartiality of the independent counsel team should also be guaranteed.
Speaking to reporters at the parliament on Thursday afternoon, Moon urged the ruling Saenuri Party and President Park Geun-hye to rule out corruption once and for all, saying the opposition party is ready to cooperate. The ruling party has pointed out that the now-deceased businessman behind the bribery list was twice pardoned for corruption by the liberal No Moo-hyun administration. In response, Moon, who was the former chief of staff to the late president, asserted that the No administration is innocent.
I can assure you that there was no one at the presidential office during the No administration who received illegal money in return for giving those pardons.
Moon added that the 8 people listed on Song's suicide memo, including current presidential chief of staff Lee Byung-gi, should resign from their posts and let the investigation take its course. Ruling Saenuri Party leader Kim Moo-sung later responded saying it's not right to pressure those named in the scandal to resign in case the investigation shows they are innocent. However, the scandal has hounded Prime Minister Lee Won-gu into submitting a resignation after just 2 months in office. Lee was one of the people named in the no left by former businessman Songwangjong, who committed suicide earlier this month, while his company's failed overseas energy project, which was greenlit by the Lee Myung-bak administration, was being investigated for embezzlement. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Prosecutors investigating the bribery scandal surrounding the Songwangjong list have called the late businessman's chief secretary back in for questioning following a grueling 12-hour interrogation on Wednesday. They've been grilling Lee Yong-gi, who was a director of public relations at Sang's company Gyeongnam Enterprises, to find out what he knows about his former boss's activities. Although Lee claims he did not know much about the list, prosecutors are focused on getting to the bottom of the allegations made in Sang's suicide note, as he handled the deceased businessman's political affairs for around 10 years. 8 high-profile conservative politicians, including Prime Minister Lee Won-gu, were named on that list. Prosecutors also plan to file for an arrest warrant on another close aide of Song, Park Jun-ho, this Thursday. Park was arrested without a warrant early Wednesday morning for emergency reasons over suspicions he had been destroying evidence. President Park Geun-hye, who is currently in Chile on the 3rd leg of her South America tour, held talks with her Chilean counterpart on Wednesday. The 2 leaders discussed ways to increase cooperation beyond the existing FTA focus. Our Choi Yu-sun reports from Santiago.
Reflecting upon their decade-long FTA, President Park Geun-hye and Chilean President Michelle Bachelet agreed to take their cooperation beyond just trade and investment.
FTA 등으로 다져진 양국 관계 발전의 기반을 바탕으로 해서 공동시장 구축을 위한 파트너십을 강화해 나가기로 하였습니다.
Since 2010, Chile has been offering $40,000 in capital, a 1-year visa, and various tax incentives to support 1,000 startups from 75 countries, which earned Chile the nickname Silicon Valley. Korea, also taking measures to foster startups, signed a deal with Chile to mutually support their ventures, a move expected to see 90 Korean ventures in Central and South America in the next 10 years. A deal between Chile's state broadcaster TVN and Korea's educational broadcasting system on sharing education and cultural contents will better market products related to Korean animation characters like its world-famous Pororo. With Santiago planning to increase its electricity from renewable energy sources to 20% by 2025, a bilateral deal to cooperate on future renewable energy projects will allow Korean firms to secure a strong presence in the Chilean market. President Park's state visit has also moved Korea a step closer to winning some of Chile's big infrastructure projects like the one to construct a tunnel linking Chile and Argentina.
In an interview with local daily El Mercurio, President Park said she expects an increasing number of Korean investors to seek opportunities in Chile as the country offers a favorable environment consisting of an open market, social safety, and transparency. Choi Yusun, Arirang News, Santiago.
The Russian ambassador to South Korea held a press conference in Seoul addressing a range of issues from Kim Jong-un's possible trip to Russia in May to Russian investment in the Kaesong industrial complex. Our Hwang Sung-hee tells us more.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will likely attend the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow next month. That's according to Alexander Timonin, the Russian ambassador to South Korea.
His participation was confirmed maybe through diplomatic channels, the details of which aren't always disclosed.
Russia has repeatedly said that Kim Jong-un will attend the May event, though Pyongyang has not made an official comment. President Park Geun-hye declined her invitation, citing a scheduling conflict, squashing hopes of a meeting between the two leaders. Speaking to reporters in Seoul on Thursday, Timonin hinted that Russian investment in the inter-Korean Kaesong industrial complex was imminent.
A lot of projects are underway. One of them was proposed by a Russian Korean. It has to do with food products. More information will be given once a deal is reached.
The Russian envoy said Seoul and Moscow are also in close talks about building a gas pipeline that would run from Russia across North Korea to South Korea. But he also reiterated Russia's opposition to the possible deployment of a U.S.-made missile defense system to South Korea.
We oppose the deployment of THAAD in regions close to Russia.
Timonin, who also served as the Russian ambassador to Pyongyang, urged the two Koreas to resume talks as soon as possible. He expressed hopes that the two countries will find ways to approach and work with each other. Hwang Sung-hee, Arirang News.
10 South Korean firms have paid regular March wages for North Korean workers at the inter-Korean Kaesong complex, disregarding non-payment warnings from Seoul. Although the businesses didn't increase wages as Pyongyang had unilaterally requested, they may still face penalties from South Korea. On Thursday, the Unification Ministry said it will decide whether to impose punitive actions against the companies. North Korea unilaterally hiked the minimum monthly wage by around 5% to $74, but notified Seoul on Wednesday that they will extend the April 20th payment deadline to the end of this week. South Korea has not approved the wage increase and pointed out that Pyongyang violated a 2004 agreement which states the two sides need to set the wages together. North Korea is violating the basic human rights of its workers at the complex by intercepting their salary and not letting them have their say through labor unions. The international organization Human Rights Watch released a report on Wednesday on the working conditions in the complex that fall well short of international standards. It said that Pyongyang demands the South Korean companies submit the wages to the North Korean regime first for them to distribute it to the workers. Because of this opaque paying system, the workers are getting paid only a small fraction of what they have earned. The organization pointed out Seoul should ensure the workers in Kaesong receive all of their salaries directly instead of arguing about the increase in their minimum salary. North Korea could be constructing a military facility on an uninhabited island near the inter-Korean maritime border in the West Sea. South Korea's defense ministry says the North seems to have started preliminary construction on a small island sitting 4.5 kilometers north of South Korea's Yeonpyeong-do Island. Ministry spokesman Kim Min-seok said the island is deserted, but it's hard to believe the North is building a civilian facility. He added that the South Korean military is keeping a close eye on the project and will release more information as it becomes available. The foggy weather at the North Korean port is delaying a Russian coal shipment to South Korea, slowing down the second trial run of the Russia-North Korea joint railway project. On Thursday, South Korea's Unification Ministry said that 40,000 tons of coal from the North's Jaein port will arrive at the South's Songwangjong port on May 1st. The shipment was supposed to arrive this Saturday. An earlier batch of 47,000 tons of Russian coal sent from the same port will arrive on schedule at the South Korean Dangjin port early Friday morning. The so-called Jaein Hasan project was proposed in 2013 to facilitate economic cooperation among the three countries, with the first trial run taking place in November. Moving on to South Korea. Korea is showing signs of improvement in the first quarter of the year on the back of sluggish growth in the previous quarter. It's a modest gain, but it still looks to be a difficult road ahead with slowing exports. Our Shin Se-min has the numbers.
The Korean economy grew 0.8% in the first 3 months of this year. That's a pickup from a 0.3% gain in the fourth quarter of 2014, but still firmly in the below 1% range for the fourth straight quarter. The Bank of Korea said Thursday a recovery in the housing market led the overall growth.
The Q1 GDP bump is attributed to a 7.5% increase in construction investments, driven by residential housing projects, as well as improved domestic spending.
What's worrisome, experts say, is the figure on the exporting front, the country's traditional growth engine that showed no improvement.
The weaker Japanese yen and China's decreasing dependence on Korean products are denting Korea's outbound shipments. So it's important to breathe new life into consumer sentiment to prop up growth.
From a year earlier, Korea expanded 2.4%, marking the slowest pace of growth since the first quarter of 2013.
The central bank said that the subtle first quarter rebound is a sign that the economy is on a recovery path, heading towards its estimate of 2.7% in the first half of the year. But analysts say that it's still too early to be relieved, as the pace of growth is just a step up from stagnation. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
And Korean automaker Hyundai Motor is losing profits, posting a drop for the fifth consecutive quarter in the first quarter of this year, mostly due to weaker overseas currencies. On Thursday, the company posted $1.5 billion in profit, down 18% from the same period last year. And that leaves the firm with 7% profitability. Hyundai sold 1.2 million units in the first 3 months of this year, down 3.6% from the year 2014. The auto company has been struggling to compete with Japanese rivals like Toyota, as the Korean won's relative strength against the Japanese yen has made its exports more expensive. Hyundai Motor is the world's fifth largest automaker in terms of sales when combined with its affiliate, Kia Motors. As part of efforts to improve the dire youth unemployment situation, the government has laid out a new job sharing program called the Wage Peak System. But an umbrella union is strongly protesting the move and intends to go on a general strike on Friday. With more, here's our Kim Ji-yeon.
Conflict between the government and labor unions peaked after they failed to reach an agreement on labor reforms earlier this month. The Korean Confederation of Trade Unions, the country's second largest umbrella union, says it'll go on a nationwide strike starting Friday. The umbrella union expects around 70,000 participants on the first day and around 200,000 over the next several days. The strike is meant to protest the government's push for a wage peak system, which reduces the salary of senior employees in the years leading up to retirement. The union is also calling for a minimum pay hike from the current $5 to just over $9. Calling the move an illegal strike, the government says it will not back down on its labor reforms. The finance minister said the wage peak system is designed to boost the country's youth employment. With roughly 500,000 young people entering the job market every year, less than half are currently hired for regular positions. The new system will free up funds to hire those young job seekers while providing job security to older employees at a lower wage. The Ministry of Government Administration and Home Affairs says it plans to charge 20 or so union leaders for violating laws and codes of conduct concerning public servants. The Education Ministry says it'll take disciplinary action against heads of schools that condone teachers participating in the strike. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Let's shift our focus to changing social trends here in Korea. These days, the younger Koreans are choosing to get married later, if at all. As a result, Korea's marriage rate fell to an all-time low last year. Statistics Korea reported on Thursday that only 6 in every 1,000 Koreans got married in 2014. That's the lowest rate on record since the government began collecting related data in 1970. The report also showed that about 305,000 couples tied the knot in 2014. That's about 17,000 less than the year before. The state agency explained that more Koreans were pushing back the appropriate age to get married. With that, the average age of people getting married has reached an all-time high at 32.4 for men and 29.8 for women. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. More coming up at 10 p.m. Korea time.
Leader Kim Jong-un will likely attend the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow next month. That's